So she's not an orphan?
It was common for very poor children to be termed orphans, even if one or both of their parents were still alive, because it was expected they couldn't care for them.
Wow. And it looks like Mary Flynn has the same parents. Okay, so this must be her sister. That's confirmation that Mary and Ellen are sisters. She's not alone, but it sounds like when she went to work for Wilkinson, it seems like she would have had a separation then from her sister, which is sad.
It is sad.
So what's pretty cool is I know now the names of my 4 times great-grandparents, James and Mary. We know that James is in America, but where is Mary? Is she alive? Has she passed away? What must life have been like for both Mary and Ellen in Cashel that they potentially would have left their mother? Oh, I can't even imagine that. Wow. Whew.
Well, Australia can't answer any more of your questions. So,
Can't. This is where the story ends here in Australia.
This is where the story ends. But you're very lucky. Having a townland like Cashel to focus upon is really, really valuable.
I think I have to go to Cashel.
I think you do too. Oh, it's been my enormous pleasure, Mandy.
Nice to meet you.
Good luck with more of your research.
Thank you. The thing that really stuck out to me was the age. I can remember being 15, starting a life and a career and being in a world of adults. So I can find the connection with her on that point. I feel like I'm starting to get a sense of who Ellen was. And I want to know about her story before she came here. Life must have been pretty rough to leave Ireland, probably forever. It took us almost 24 hours to get here, but I kept thinking about the fact that it took Ellen nearly 4 months on a ship. It really did put the whole trip into perspective, and it just feels so nice to be here, to be on the ground, and to know that I have a connection to this place. I have reached out to Irish historian Turtle Bunbury to see if he's tracked down any information on my family from here.
Mandy, how are you?
I'm well, how are you? So nice to meet you.
Welcome to Ireland.
Thank you.
I'm after any information about Ellen Flynn, who is my 3 times great-grandmother, but I'm also desperate to know any information about my 4 times great-grandparents, Mary and James.
Well, I started with James because I really wanted to try and find something about James Flynn in America.
Yes.
But unfortunately, there's just so many James Flynns at that time.
Oh,
it's a very common name in Ireland. For now, he remains a man of mystery.
But were you able to find any information on Mary or Mary and Ellen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and that is why I've brought you here.
Where are we?
This is the Moore workhouse. And this is one of 130 workhouses that were built to look after the destitute from each area. People would come here and they could get some relief by working here. Ellen and Mary were not in Moore workhouse, but they were in a workhouse down in Cashel in County Tipperary, which is not very far from here. But it's a hospital these days, so it's been kind of repurposed and it doesn't have the same ambience as this one. Let us go in.
Let's do it.
Okay. 2. This is a dormitory for boys, but it would have been exactly the same as the dormitory for girls where Ellen and Mary were staying. So the first thing that happens when you come through with your family is you're broken up. Girls go one way, boys go another. Fraternization, any hanging out with one another, completely forbidden, prohibited.
Even between mothers and their children?
Even between mothers and daughters, husbands and wives. Mary would have been in a ward for the grown-up women.
With her mother?
Yes, Mary the
Ellen
sister.
would have
and Ellen,
been
I think,
alone.
would have been on her own in a dormitory which would have been just like this one. And as you can see, it's really cold.
I do feel the cold. And people actually, they lived in this.
Yeah, and they really were. They were hell on earth. This was the last resort.
Do you know When Ellen and Mary went to the workhouse in Cashel?
They were definitely here by 1848. They could have been here much earlier than that.
Got it. And when did the famine start?
The famine starts 1845, 46. There hadn't been that many people coming to the workhouses up until that point because they were so horrible. But with the famine, what options?
Yeah, people didn't have a choice, huh?
The Cashel workhouse, for instance, was designed for 700 people. By 1848, 1849, when Ellen and Mary and their mother are there, you are talking of maybe 4,000 people crammed into the Cashel workhouse and the surrounding buildings. You also have typhoid and cholera epidemics. By the time you get to 1850, you're talking maybe 1.5 million people dead, a lot of them in the workhouses. So they're death traps.
It sort of crystallizes for me why Ellen and Mary would have been, like, absolutely not tempted, but just like there was no choice but to want to be involved in the Earl Grey scheme.
It was an opportunity for escape, no doubt about it.
Is there any sort of documentation that you were able to find about Ellen and Mary and their time in the workhouse in Cashel?
There is a little. Come take a seat.
Okay. Ooh, okay. Put some gloves on because it's cold.
I have this for you to look at.
Outfit for each of the immigrants. Interesting, okay. So this is everything that they would have taken on their journey to Sydney.
Yes.
6 shifts, 6 pair of stockings, 2 pairs of shoes, 2 gowns, 2 aprons, 1 bonnet. I actually saw some of this when I was in Sydney.
Okay.
Yes, I saw a pair of stockings. We saw a bonnet. Just unbelievable. It's so crazy to see it now.
This is where it started.
Yeah, the laundry list of items that they were given.
I mean, for people who had been here and had nothing, and suddenly this is, you know, what you're presented with. I mean, for Ellen and Mary, they must have thought, whoa, this is all our Christmases coming at once.
Yeah, absolutely.
They needed those women to be arriving into Australia looking good.
Looking the part.
Good quality girls.
Yeah, to a country they probably know nothing about.
Very little.
And what an intimidating journey, too. Wow. So, my 4 times great-grandparents, Mary and James. We know James went to America, and he's virtually untrackable. But were you able to find anything about Mary Flynn?
I was.
You were? Wow.
Here.
What is this? Wow. Good gracious.